Gas Blast Grill Chill podcast with Jeremy and Trevor, the podcast that's all about hunting, fishing, grilling, and chilling out and having a good time in the outdoors.
All right, everyone. I apologize in advance for the audio quality on this podcast. This podcast was recorded when me and Trevor were first learning how to record everything and get all the audio synced up. This is a cut from one of our earliest attempts. So this is kind of a podcast blast from the past. I hope y'all enjoy. Sorry about the delay in getting out the podcast. We've lost 2 podcasts due to technical difficulties, but all those are behind us now, and we should be recording a new one in the next day or 2. Thanks a lot. I hope y'all enjoy.
With me today is my cousin Trevor, and we'll be talking a little bit about off-season work, a few trips we did this year, and some general prep and how-to to get ready for the upcoming hunting seasons.
Absolutely. Dove season right around the corner. I think we're about 2 weeks out at this point. I'm definitely ready to start this podcast and let y'all know what we're going to do in the off season, scouting wise and other things to get ready for the hunt.
Definitely. We've already started, our internet scouting, which isn't the most effective scouting, but it gets you to where you're ready to go get your boots on the ground and start actually, looking for the animals, finding the animals, and figuring out, where you want to hunt for the upcoming season.
Absolutely. With Google Earth Pro free now and, all the other things, like I have a U.S. topo maps that I downloaded, and that definitely helps me with terrain from, deer hunting and everything like that, where some thick stuff where you want to know what the grade is.
Yeah, it'll definitely help you find those pinch points, choke points, and, any hidden creeks and stuff, as far as anything that's, not readily available, even on Google Earth, because if you're in the middle of the forest, you can't, see that creek that runs through the middle, but on that topo map, it does show up.
Yeah, and another thing about the online scouting that is a downfall is you don't know, how far back those pictures are going, so you don't know what the vegetation's like now or in this season. So it's good to get the boots on the ground and actually get out there and do some walking around.
Well, yeah, especially for things like deer hunting and duck hunting, the vegetation can change, That's the good thing actually about the Google Earth Pro. I'm not certain if you're aware of it. You can actually go back in time, and it'll actually tell you the date and month and year it was the satellite images were taken. So you can actually know when it was, but not so much, what it's like today. Especially for things like deer hunting, where they do control burns, logging, etc., and so forth. They what was a good spot last year or 2 years ago, if they come in and logged it, or had a control burn, it may be a better spot, or they may have totally clear cutted it and it might be a barren wasteland for another year.
Yeah, that is why it's good to get out and actually look at it for yourself, and you're going to find some stuff close up that you're definitely not going to get on Google Maps or any kind of topography pictures or anything like that.
Oh yeah, well, especially after the rains we had this year and the big floods. I mean, any kind of thing that has to do with water has drastically changed.
Yeah, any areas that have flooded really bad and collected deadfall in places and scattered stuff throughout, and you don't know what kind of stuff has been washed out of flatlands or what's holding water still.
Exactly. So we got our opening season camping dove hunt coming up here pretty soon. You're obviously closer to the birds than I am out there that we're going to go hit. I know you went out there the other day. What's it look like out there as far as the ag fields, the CRP land, and the land that's leased out for grazing?
Well, as far as the ag fields go, I think most people are starting to harvest now and starting to cut. So I think it's going to be just on time for the birds once this cold front we get. Hopefully it'll push more birds down. We're not having a huge number of birds right now, but I do have faith that with this cold front that came in yesterday, I was looking at some of the temperatures up north, and it's starting to get a little chillier. Hopefully we'll get some birds in.
Well, that'll definitely help. We definitely need to, make sure that we pattern those local birds for that opening morning, because, that'll be probably the bulk of what we have for the first week of season, barring any significant weather changes over the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, there's just so few local birds right now that I can pattern. it's hard to get their flight patterns down and everything like that. It's just kind of some flybys and stuff like that. But they're always kind of predictable for water and food. You can always get them in the crossfire there.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely what I was thinking for our setup this year was definitely to a find us some shade with this incredible heat we've been having, and b to make sure that we get you know right in between a good food source and a good water source.
Yeah, one thing that back to our scouting when we were looking at Google Maps, I'm really looking forward to trying out the new spot and getting away from everybody. We're planning on taking my little boat and scooting across the lake to a peninsula area that's surrounded by some willows and get out there, get into some open field, and kind of put our backs to the tree line in between an ag field and the lake.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a good idea. Um, okay, so back to that peninsula. The peninsula idea is a great idea, using your boat to get away from the crowds, because us hunting primarily public, the crowds are always an issue. So
Yeah, everybody and their brother's gonna be out there opening weekend.
oh yeah, everyone will be out there. Luckily, opening day falls in the middle of the week on a Thursday this year, and we both managed to take off. Opening day through Labor Day, so we'll have hopefully a few days with not quite a big a crowd out there. But yeah,
Yeah,
but for certain, definitely using that boat to get across that little chunk of lake and to get out there on that little peninsula. That what did we figure that was, a good 3 to 5 mile hike from any place you could park and walk in from.
yeah. As the crow flies, it was about 3.5 miles from any easy access point, and that's not even a parking lot where most people would go, and or there's no gate there, but it is all public land. So if somebody really wanted to come down and work for it without a boat, they could, but I
No,
don't see
me
it
neither. I
happening.
mean, and on top of that, it'll be a good spot for us, which is also a good, kind of tip for anybody that enjoys, hunting multiple species, whether it be birds, hogs, deer. Um, a spot like that is also a good hog spot, or a good deer spot if you could get one of the draw tags for hunting deer out there. Because it's away from the crowds, but when you're out there, dove hunting, which is here in Texas, the first season that opens up, definitely start patterning your bigger game, you know, your hogs, your deer, the stuff that you're going to want to start hunting uh, later in the year, because even though, I'm working all day, every day, I drive around all day, but like I sent you those pictures the other day of those three doe and that fawn, they were out at 12:30 when you wouldn't think deer would be out, and you've been seeing them about the same time. So obviously there's something going on that we're not, you know, aware of, because we're not a deer, but they're up moving around in the hottest part of the day when
Yeah, when I wouldn't expect to go out and find them at all, I'd be back having lunch or something like that, at noon, getting out of the heat if it was deer season.
oh yeah, I mean, if it was October bow season and it was that hot, I wouldn't be out in the field. There wouldn't be any reason in my mind to be. But if you keep seeing deer where you're at, moving at that time of day, well,
Yeah,
there's something going on. So, you know, take whatever you can pattern, in your day-to-day life, or in your early season scouting, and apply that to your later season scouting, and don't dismiss things that are out of the norm.
absolutely. Well, let's talk about, aside from scouting, what are some of the things we've been doing, in the off season, getting ready, keeping in practice.
Well, let's see. I got me a couple of new duck calls. I've been riding around with them in the truck, blowing them like crazy, trying to get a little better. I've also been putting my blind bag all together, getting all my gear prepped, getting it all ready to go for the upcoming season. Been practicing with my bow as often as I can. This heat makes it real hard to want to get out there at 5 o'clock when it's 106-degree heat index, but you got to get out there and sling arrows if you're going to be a ethical bow hunter, so you got to suffer a little bit this time of year.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, some of the things I've been doing, just about the same. Gathering some gear. This year got me a nice floating blind bag and shotgun case. Because since we are going to be out on the water, even in dove season, getting to our spots, so that's going to be super important to me. So we don't lose that. I don't lose my new my new shotgun.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
yeah, so also other than that, just keeping up on training the dog. Just go work him as much as possible. Get the dummies out and put some scent on him. Just to get him refreshed on all of his commands.
Yeah, I'm about to say, how's Cedric doing? Is he working blind retrieves? How about doubles?
We did. Unfortunately, I only have one duck dummy, but I do have a bag dummy as well. So we did do a double. He was doing really good this morning on some blind retrieves. I had another person actually hide him in the bushes and then using my hand signals to direct, where he was actually searching to, and he was finding them in, less than 30 seconds. So
Yeah, with the heat this time of year, I mean, you can pretty much only work him in the mornings and in the evenings, huh?
yeah, but I do have to get him used to working out in the heat because we're gonna push him hard on this 5 day trip, and it's gonna be hot, hot. It's probably gonna be mid 90s most days for the high. Heat index is probably gonna reach 100 on some of those, so he's got to get used to it before we get out there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, your mom does kind of spoil that dog.
Yeah, she doesn't know.
How many likes did he wind up getting on that Facebook post? What was that, the American Sporting Dog or something like that?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly. It's I think they have a TV show. It's Outdoor Adventure Dogs or something like that. Some page I follow just messaged him a picture of him getting a rat in a hole in the tree at Granger. Well, about last duck season, I think, and it ended up getting over 5,000 likes. So
That's pretty impressive. He's a good-looking dog.
yeah, he is a good-looking dog.
Ready to put him to work, though.
Yeah, he needs to get down and dirty and get some birds in his mouth.
What else have you been doing with him as far as dog prep? I know you got that new swim ladder for him. You planning on getting him in the boat anytime soon to go do some water retrieves in the boat?
Yeah, I'm hopefully next weekend I can get you come down and we'll go run some errands and do some stuff we gotta do at the lake, and we can get him up on the deck and try him out, train him on that new swim up ladder. They can get him so we don't have to pull him by his collar or anything like that.
Yeah, pick him up by that vest.
Yeah, picking him up by the vest or anything like that. So we're gonna get him out there and get him used to working off that deck. I do need to get us off that camo mesh so we can get him coming in and out of that new blind we built for the boat as well.
Yeah, well, I figure we can probably work that either at the house or at the duck pond there close to your house. I want to get him, at least is my thinking, get him just comfortable with the idea of coming up that ladder first into the boat.
Yeah, well, shoot, he did. He was pretty steady for the most part in that canoe last year, and that was pretty nerve wracking when we first started bringing him out on the canoe, and 28 degrees, raining weather, and
Yeah,
trying to get in the middle of in the dark and whatnot.
yeah, that was especially with the way it went at the duck pond for our test run.
Yeah, taking in a little bit of water, maybe a step or two into the water.
Yeah, me getting thrown a little bit in, my rain boots getting totally under the water.
Yeah, I think I was about knee deep in some water with one leg, just trying to keep the canoe from flipping.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so so we got some gear prepped. Now,
What other gear prep you been doing? You got all your new decoys rigged, or are you getting ready to start Texas rigging them, or are you how you gonna handle all those new Avian X decoys you got?
well, I think I'm gonna pick up another half dozen, and then probably some pintails, some confidence birds, and then I'm gonna end up Texas rigging them.
And it's coming up fast. We got about 6 weeks to early teal.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait, man. It's gonna be a blast.
Oh man,
I'm gonna slay
I'm
them.
ready to get on them.
Yes, sir.
What about any of your fishing gear? I know I re-rigged a couple noodles the other day that we tore up on our trip out to Turkey Bend.
Yeah, I think I went into Academy and I picked up some more hooks and stuff that I can actually fit my twine through the eye of them. I think I ended up getting some 4/0 hooks.
Are you tying them like those ones I originally tied with the beads and the double dropper off of?
No, I'm kind of doing them a little bit different. I do droppers, but they're not the smaller gauge, the white line that you have on yours for a drop off.
Uh-huh.
I'm just using the same gauge and just buying a bigger eye on the hooks I'm buying.
Yeah, the next time I get hooks, I actually want to try maybe some circle hooks on there to see if we can't avoid some of the problems we had that last time with fish getting off. Because those circle hooks will hook them right in the corner of the mouth, and also, in the event that we get non-intended species, it'll make it easier to release them.
Mm-hmm. Man, that crappie we had out there at the Turkey Bend trip on the noodle,
Yeah.
that was the biggest crappie I think I pulled out of the water ever. I can't believe we got it on the noodle.
Yeah, I
man.
can't believe we got it on a noodle. And the worst thing about it is you got to let it go.
Yeah, I know, absolutely, and that was heartbreaking.
So, as far as your other your things going around there, you get your batteries fixed on your boat and get it ready going, or you still waiting?
Yeah, I actually took it up there and got it tested. I think there was something wrong with my battery charger. All the cells were working all right. Thought I had a dead cell there for a while, but it seems everything's good and the battery's fully charged. I think my it's an analog readout on my battery charger, and I think that needle is a little bit off. It's pretty
Yeah.
old.
Battery chargers don't seem to last very long anymore.
Yeah, unless you're buying the high dollar stuff, and I just don't have any reason for it. I don't use it that often.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of that crappie and that trip we took out there to Turkey Bend, that was a pretty productive. I guess you'd call it a meat haul.
Yeah, pretty much. I think we ended up with just working noodles for what, two evenings and a morning. We ended up with 22 pounds of bone out fillets.
Yeah, I think it was a little closer to 25 pounds. But I mean, if you really stop and think about it, we ran noodles that first night. That I got there that Friday night after getting there after work. But what, we might have had maybe 4 or 5 catfish, maybe 6.
Yeah, I think we only pulled out 3 or 4. It wasn't that much that night. We were having some engine issues starting at that point, but ended up getting it fixed.
Yeah, we had the engine issues, and then we had the no plug issue. It was a fun trip. Then we also had the massive severe weather issue because that was the weekend that the flood started.
Mm-hmm. We had the park ranger coming down telling us, y'all definitely need to watch out and be careful. And it's like, yeah, well, we're far enough back, and if we see it start coming, we'll get out of here. But
Yeah, if that weather would have moved a little bit quicker, we would have been getting out of there a little bit quicker. I mean, it still rained on us real good that night, but I got to thinking about that trip just the other day. Really, the bulk of our fish came really from, that Friday night we fished for a while, and then we sat around the campfire drinking some beers, telling some stories, listening to some music, and then I'd say we got out there fishing probably 7:30, 8 o'clock, and the vast majority of our fish came fishing that day.
yeah, it was nice and overcast, so we were able to haul fish in all day long. We'd leave them set for by the time we get our, what do we have, 24-ish noodles out.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. By the time we got them all set, we could go run back and pick up 2, 3 fish that we can see working on there, and then bait them up again, go back, hang out for 30 minutes, and go back, pull 5, 6 more fish out of the water.
Yeah, we pulled a lot of quality fish. I'd say we probably pulled, everything was good eating size. I mean, we didn't catch any super monsters. I think we lost at least 1 or 2 real good ones. But
yeah, I think so too. But I do have some pictures from that trip that we can put up either on a slideshow on our YouTube channel or on our Facebook page, or both.
yeah, I have some pictures too, as well as possibly some GoPro video that we tried to take that day. I'm not sure how any of that's turned out yet. I haven't memory dumped that card yet, but I'm planning on doing that here this weekend.
Yeah, I think the one thing that really worked out for us is using the sonar and actually finding those drop offs, those very, very steep drop offs when it's run from 8 foot of water down to 28 foot of water, and getting right on the edge there where they're going to be waiting and feeding on bait fish.
Yeah, that was definitely, I think, the thing that panned out real good was the fact that we fished points with major drop offs and coves in channels. That's where, if you stop and think about where the vast majority of our fish came, they either came on the lee side of a cove on a big drop off or on a point.
Yeah, and that lee side of a cove was important for that wind was picking up with that storm pushing into.
Definitely chasing those things around. I'm glad we didn't go try and run them in the main lake like we did that first night.
Yeah, it was a little bit more common. We were still losing stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they blowing underneath the boat docks and everything else. It took us a good, I think, 2 hours to find those last two noodles because they blew all the way back in that back corner.
Yeah, we were kind of persistent on that because we thought we had Moby Dick on the end of that
I
one,
didn't know
man.
if it was Moby Dick, giant gar, or what, but I basically, wasn't wanting to lose, a noodle that I just rigged up.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, so but also chasing those bait fish down, definitely worth the while. Following those schools, I think we, pulled up a couple of cast nets, some gizzard shad, and also cast netted us some other shad. And what else were we fishing that day? I
Oh, we were
forget.
using those black salties we bought from the bait shop because we really couldn't catch enough shad to keep our stuff baited for whatever reason. We just could not find any bait fish, that we could manage to get in the boat.
Yeah, the ones that we did get, we couldn't really keep alive as well. Even with the aerator and minnow buckets and all that, it's just hard to keep those threadfin shad
Yeah, you
alive,
can't
man.
keep those things alive, but those blue catfish don't care. They'll eat those live, fresh, dead. They'll eat them better than anything else.
Everything likes a shad, right?
Everything eats them.
Mm-hmm. Well, you want to give us some concluding thoughts
Yeah,
there?
definitely. I think everyone should be already well into your preps for hunting season by now. If you're not, you're kind of behind the eight ball and definitely need to get on it. You know, in conclusion, this is the time of year that's gonna pay dividends later on in your hunting. If you don't do the prep work now, every single weekend you're gonna be playing catch up. You're gonna be like, well, this is my weekend to hunt. You'll get, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Rather than just working your day and enjoying yourself and being a typical week. You're gonna be spending your nights out till midnight, 1 o'clock. Getting your gear ready because you didn't do it now. Do it now. Get it ready. And then the same thing goes for at the end of hunting season with your fishing stuff. When it's those cold, long winter days, get your fishing gear ready. Respool your lines. Um, also this is the time of year that I think, you know, you can get some good deals on gear. So, watch your sales, watch your Cabela's, watch your Bass Pros, watch, your Academy Sports and Outdoors or any local, sporting goods people that you shop and watch for sales because they always seem to do around Labor Day. They always seem to run sales, which here in Texas is the start of dove season. So watch your sales and get your gear ready to go this time of year. Make sure you're also doing your scouting for your upcoming stuff. And like I said, always watch the wildlife in your day-to-day life. Just because you hunt 300 miles away, you know the the birds, the deer, the hogs, whatever. If you're seeing them here, they're probably doing the same thing there. So always take that into consideration. What about you? You got any kind
Yes,
of
sir.
concluding thoughts?
Yeah, I'm right there with you on the scouting. I think it's definitely important because you cannot rely 100% on your memory of what happened last year. Those birds, those deer, those hogs, whatever you're going to hunt, they're going to change their patterns on moon phases, weather patterns, everything. So you have to be in there with them, get in their mindset, and see what they're going to do. I think that's kind of our ending thought for the day. You want to give a plug to our YouTube channel and website and see so people can
Yeah,
find us
definitely.
again?
You can find us on social media. We are Cast, Blast, Grill, Chill on just about every social media platform. That's for now primarily going to be YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. But you can find us on all of those and give us a like, give us a follow, check us out. We read all the comments. If you got any pointers or suggestions or anything for us, we're open to any kind of feedback you guys want to give us.